the folklore of the moon. That's where I started out with. Now we'll get into, like I said, in some of the symbolic stuff here in just a second. There's also been what we call lunar deities. Have y'all ever heard that before? Where there's deities and celestial stories when it comes down to the moon. For example, you got Artemis and Diana. If you ever remember that particular story, the Greek and Roman goddess of the moon, hunting and at childbirth, embodying the moon's connection to what they call feminine energy and natural cycles. Now, when we get down to natural cycles, we can talk about this in here where we get down to it, where there is a lot of phases when it comes to the human body, when it comes down to the moon. But there's a symbol here, as you can see, is the moon was the mind, the sun, the soul, the earth, and the body. So the moon, and then you have the sun, and then you have the earth. Now that symbol, people seen it all the time, where it's the kind of the moon with the circle and all that. And it's all of it is saying that it's all connected. But again, as I go over some of the folklore first and some of the myths first, even Thoth, if y'all remember Thoth, right? In the Egyptian god of the moon, he was the Egyptian god of the moon, but it was representing wisdom. It was representing the writing and representing the moon's association with knowledge, as well as magic and the measurement of time. So this was something, once again, that was out there. And like I said, I break it down to three different categories as I go. And again, for those who just got in here, we have the scientific, we got the consciousness, and then we have the folklore, all embedded in stories when it comes down to the moon. Even when you think of Mawa, or whatever, this is in West Africa mythology. This is where the moon goddess who balanced the sun god Eliza, if you remember, representing the moon's role in maintaining cosmic harmony. So throughout history, the moon has been associated with balance, right? It's always been associated with something with balance. And I think that's one of the things that we need to look into. Chai-Chi, which is a Chinese goddess of the moon, symbolizing immortality and eternal beauty, connected with the moon's allure, along with its role in romantic legends. So when we get down to that myth part right there, you see that it goes all the way back to maybe because the moon is so many people do stuff at night, and maybe the moon is that part of a romance and under the moonlight and whatever, right? Who knows? But the whole point I'm saying is we go from werewolves to romantic stuff. We go to insanity where crazy people do stuff under the moon, hypnotic stuff. Then we have this, and then we have the big secret keepers, the government. The government tends to try to put the moon into the science tide, the lunar tides, the biological rhythms of the earth. And so do we all come together and agree? Probably not, but it all ties into what we're going to be talking about in a little bit when we get down to this particular part in the Book of Secrets. Once again, we're going to be going through just flipping through pages. So if you haven't seen this and know what's all in this thing, I'm just letting y'all know it's some powerful stuff. For those of you who don't have it, man, it's some great stuff. This is the best of the best. So I'm just letting you know it's one of the best kept secrets and stuff out there. So let me go back to my story page. But so once again, we're talking about the moon. Now, the other part of this, and I'll put it up on screen here. If you need a copy of it, there's where you can go get it. We take it down pretty soon anyway, for those of you already got it. So let me get back on track. The gravitational pull. Now, NASA and the world at large, when it comes down to the scientific community, focuses on the moon with the gravitational pull. And they're saying that it's the force that creates the tides in the oceans. But then we still can go back to Greek mythology of Poseidon and all of this stuff associated with the tides and stuff of the ocean. But it also said it impact marine life and coastal ecosystems. Menstrual cycles. Oh my God. So I'm not a woman, but you all probably would assume. And if all of you ladies in the house in here, if y'all want to get into the conversation, tell me a little bit about your particular menstrual cycle. Just put in the chat. Is it aligned with what's going on in the moon? And by the way, I'm wearing a High Strangeness Outer Space shirt. It's not on the website yet. I'll put it on it. And then it has a big outer space on the back. You can't see it, but It's just I made it for me, but I may make it for you guys. Sleep patterns. But let me back up. The average menstrual cycle is roughly 29.5 days, mirroring the lunar cycle, leading to speculations about the hormonal connections. Now, I would just have to say, ladies, is that true? And oh well, body electric said men have cycles too, so I wouldn't doubt it. Sleep patterns. Some studies suggest that the moon can disrupt sleep, potentially affecting mood and cognitive functions. That's another part of this. Animal behavior. Certain animals like corals and sea turtles synchronizes their reproduction cycles with the lunar cycle. Why is that, by the way? What is the power of this moon that we have that's sitting out here and pretty much now when we go back, like I said, and we'll get into on the second half, the alien side, the moon's supposed to be hollow, it's artificial. They got bases on it. So that's going to be the second part of this moon show. But the point I'm saying is we want to talk about that. Now, where we here into the conversation of why we're here tonight is the consciousness of it. Now, we're going to get into this, and I'm going to work from this book of secrets. But intuition and emotions, let's talk about that right now. Supposedly, and not supposedly, it is being said that the moon is often associated with the heighten of emotions as well as intuition, inviting us to tune into our inner world. Now, it's a lot of truth in that because if you go into here, it talks about that the moon, and it breaks it down from money, demand, moon, monitor. It breaks down to the full moon, the dying, winding, the new moons that come in, the growth that comes in. And like I said, I'll go through all of this in a few seconds here. But the whole point is we should be thinking about the moon itself. And there's been a lot of movies out there showing how we as humans destroyed the moon, right? We as humans have done so many different things. But once again, it had also said that the moon is a great time for manifestation and intention settings. And this is what I was talking about earlier. If all of you do any business with David G and have him to do any readings for you, he'll talk to you about the intentions of the moon itself. And so the moon, again, many believe that a new moon is a potent time for setting intentions and starting new projects. So you can go to Monica's channel. She talks about it, Body Electric Supplement. Make sure you put your YouTube channel in the chat. So she talks about a lot of this stuff. And so there is a lot of people in our collective community that focuses on the power of the moon. And like I say, is it mystical? Is it something that, and some of you, how many of you right now actually literally base some of your life actions off the moon right now? Put it in the chat. Let's see about that a little bit. So, and we talk about reflection and release, that the full moon is seen as time for releasing no longer serves us. So things that there was a time that a while back that I wrote down a lot of intentions. I wrote about a lot of stuff. And I think we was having some type of moon cycle. I went outside, burnt it, set everything on fire, and then sit there and set it on fire, the intentions and the people and things that I wanted to get out of my life. And then I threw it up into the ashes. And that was during the new moon cycle. So so I've done things myself when it comes down to that. And that's what I'm talking about. Becky says she's doing her grounding tonight. So obviously there are some things with the moon. Philly Cat says growth. Chicago says, listen, I think the moon has a lot of beings on it. We're going to talk about that in the second half of the show. With telescopes, you can see the domes. We're going to talk about that part of the moon on the second half of the show. So stick around, Chicago, when we get into that. But again, the moon is the time that it is seen as the time for releasing, like I said, what no longer serves you, embracing new beginnings. And why is that, by the way? Why would we do such a thing? And now it also says connecting with nature and observing the moon phases can foster a deeper connection to the natural world. So now reason why I went through all of that in the beginning is because there's so much mystical stuff about the moon. And who knows the truth of it? So we got the conscious community. Oh, we got the scientific. But is it that all these things could be true at the same time? Right? There is a possibility that two or three things are true at the same time. And so, therefore, do werewolves exist? I hate to find out. Is there something called moon madness out there? Probably so. Is there selkies out there? Probably so. What about moon rabbits? Yes. What about the stories of Artemis and Diana back in the Greek and Roman goddesses? What about Thoth? Billy talks about Thoth all the time when we get down to that. Yeah, we can go into the scientific. I'm just going over. You're talking about the gravitational pulls with menstrual cycles. We're talking about sleep patterns and animal behavior. And that, once again, intuition and all of this stuff. So where do we go with this? How do we put it in? And it's a lot of stuff to question, but it sounds like there's a lot of you that do moon rituals. You do moon rituals. And so now let me hop into what I'm going to get into right now, which will be this book of secrets. All right, so right here, I'm going to start with the moon, okay, and then actually I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So if you want to read it a little more, I can do that. Let me just give you the technology of where we at. All right, so I'll move it over here so you can kind of get your little focus on. Well, it is going to be out of focus, so let me go back. Y'all don't need to see that anyway. You just get your own copy. All right. So let's do that. All right. So, well, anyway, the whole point I'm saying is that right here, it talks about a month is a moon, moon as in Moonth. So there's a different terminology. And it says the moon takes 14 days to wax to a full moon. And then at this point, we have that the moon takes 14 days to wind to what they call a new moon. So this is constantly happening all the time when it gets down to this. And so the other part is, listen, the moon governs all liquid within us. It says here, within us on the face of the earth. So the moon governs all liquids within us and on the face of the earth. The menstrual cycles for women is governed by the moon. It takes 14 days for the egg to become mature in the ovaries. And once again, it's 14 days to wax a full moon. And then if the fertilized eggs 270 days later, a child will be born. If not, 14 days later, the egg will bleed. Who designed us like that? See, this is not no faint of heart. Somebody, some things design. So it's like all of this stuff works together, right? It all works together. Who designed us this way? Make sure y'all hit the like button. Yes, make sure you're going to share. The moon takes 30 days. Listen, the moon takes 30 days to travel around the Zodiac wheel. This is why we use the term month, because it is the month, MON, of the moon. A month is a cycle of the moon cycling around 12 zodiac signs, which is up here, by the way. And so everything is connected once it comes down to the zodiac signs. And then, of course, we all react a certain way depending on your zodiac sign. Now, using the other part is that the moon has an effect on our psychology. And then it also, this is what we use the term lunatic, like I explained earlier. And it has been a well-known fact that decades, now that on a full moon, the crime rate will always increase due to the psychological effects that it has on our mind. So is it safe to say why? I'm not saying for everybody, but I knew the she-wolf, when it was a full moon, the cycle was coming and all of that, man, she was crazy. She was crazy. She said, I know women can sync their cycles. Not everyone has the same cycle, obviously, but I think Roderick is making a comparison about the days. Yeah, that's fine. Correct me. Yeah, y'all correct me. Ladies, make sure you correct me. All right, no problem. I don't have a cycle. I don't know. Well, not like you, I would assume. I don't have one. All right, so, but here's the deal. They're saying that the psychological effects has on our minds, enhancing the state of the mind we already possesses. This is what stood out to me the most when I read this. It's saying that depending on how somebody acts, right? And we used to say that when we say money amplifies who you already are. Like somebody said, oh, when he got his money, he was a jerk. Well, they always said that that person was already a jerk. The money just amplified it. They're saying that the moon, whatever you act like under this moon, that you were already that. Your mind possesses that already. So if you get all crazy and whacked out, you were already crazy. You were crazy. You just the moon just activated your craziness. You became a little more crazy. And then if you were just calm and collected, maybe you're a little more calmer. But in the most cases, you're crazy, right? But it also said when the moon is in the phase of being new, you want to stay or start what they call new projects, plant seeds, or start a new chapter in your life as the moon will be growing alongside of you. How many of you ever done that? How many of you have ever started new projects? Those of you who follow the moon cycles and everything, how many of you ever decided that you are going to start new projects and do stuff around the moon? Because there are so many other parts of this that we'll get into it from there. But once again, listen to this part. Money only exists in the mind, and the mind is moon. And therefore, in your mind, you have a specific mood, which is moon. Isn't that interesting? Let me repeat that. Let me show you. It says money is only exist in your mind, and mind is moon. And in your mind, you have a specific mood, which is moon. So all of this stuff is kind of put into retrospect, as you can see right here, that they talk about mon equals moon, M-O-N, money, demon, moon, and monitor. All of this stuff are supposedly comes from that part of what we call the moon itself. And it said the moon does not reflect the sunlight. It emits its own source of light. So that's what a lot of people used to tell me when I was growing up, that the light that we saw from the moon was the reflection of the sun being on the other side. And this is why we would say that we have the dark side of the moon or far side of the moon when they say this. And so it's saying that the moon does not reflect sunlight. It emits its own source of light. Now, that's something that I would have to challenge even my own thoughts, because once again, we have always have the dark side of the moon. So how is this strategically done? Because the moon doesn't rotate. We all know that the moon is not rotating. It's in a fixed position at all times. So is it that part of light? Where is that coming from? You know, what is emanating the light to the moon and stuff from there? So that is pretty interesting when it comes down to this. So they're saying gazing at a full moon will help you gain physical abilities. Huh. Isn't that the opposite though? When you think about this thing, pretty much, and it does spin clockwise. No, it doesn't spin. It rotates around, but it's not spinning, because it's otherwise we will, in this whole process, you will see the far side of the moon if it was spinning at some point. We will see it. We would all see it, right? But there's never the dark side, the far side of the moon ever being shown, because it's moving, but it's not spinning, where at some point you're going to see this point, that point. The moon, like I said, is the opposite of the sun. You try to go stare at the sun, you're going to get your eyes burnt out. But you go stare at the moon, it's supposed to give you physical abilities. That's a challenge. Under the moonlight. There was a song, under the moon, under the boardwalk, under the moonlight. We would sing it. But at the front, okay, he said the side faces us, rotates to the side that faces us, spins. Okay. So the whole point I'm saying is the moon, listen to me closely, is your mind. And it's a full moon is when it's the most powerful. So you can use the full moons to your advantage. And for example, by casting spells, as they are more powerful when it's the full moon on the start of something new in your life. And so when you hear the term spells, some people cringe on it like it's some kind of witchcraft or whatever. But what if you casting a spell for yourself, for your own good? You can do that. And so, and I actually, I haven't even opened it. I have this document, a book of spells for life, for your whole life. It's like bunch of different spells. I look at it, it was given to me, and I have them, and I can copy them into some ebooks and stuff, but let y'all tell me. I don't know. I'm not like in the right mind to say I want to go and think I want to cast a spell, because to me it still drives me into my Christian roots, right? But hey, is it prayers a spell? Or is a spell a spell? You right? You know what I'm saying? Laying hands on your brother, is that a spell? Well, I don't know. Y'all tell me. Okay, so there you go. Monica says prayer is a spell. So there we go. That answers the question for me a little bit. So the other part of this is you can use the full moons to your advantage. And again, like Cancer, doing spells, you can also have a deep visualization meditation on your future. All of this is here. All of this teaches you, it gives you the phases of everything right here. It's all in here. And this is, again, the book. This has got the ultimate knowledge of what we're going. And like I said, I'll thumb back through this real quick. Let me put it on this page. I'm gonna go through this so fast. Y'all pay attention so you know what's all in here real quick. This is the book of secrets that doesn't get out much. You have everything about light. You have everything about Christ oil. It's going to teach you all the Kundalini. It's going to teach you all about the third eye. We're going to go through this eventually anyway. The Holy Grail, the pineal glands. You're going to go through all the different planes of existence, as within, as without. You're going to go through all. You're going to learn all of this stuff. This is your secret to life, right? You're going to go into all the consciousness and the chakras and everything else. And it is incredible. And Philly Cat just put the link there. And once again, you talking about higher self. You talk about the hand. This thing is so visual. The head is heaven. It goes through all of those things for you. Where the God is, the God power. You hear them talk about it all the time. It goes through the ether, the flat earth, the heart, the flat earth, right? The heart of earth, the whole heart, where the moon, everything's still surrounding the moon. You got cosmology there. You got Freemason. The list goes on and on in the firm, and I can just keep going. I just let y'all know. This thing is one of the most powerful things that you can have, besides a couple other things in your arsenal. So let me continue to go. And the other part goes to, I don't know if y'all seen the vibrational codes. This is pretty good too, where it tells you the codes of water and consciousness. And then this actually work. I put these under my pillow. I've been manifesting. You take this particular code for money and vibration. You print them as you need. Love, freedom, and abundance. Pure money codes. You have all of these, and these are from a tree of life, based on a tree of life, and then you take that code and you place it under your stuff. And then, of course, we have the hidden truths. This is a little more conspiratorial. This is going to teach you on symbolic stuff, what's happening with the Vatican, the secret society codes, and all of this stuff. This is going to teach you. We went through a show with this already. So these are, again, you can go to the website. I will tell you to pick up all three if you haven't, and I guarantee you will have something that, flower life. But the moon has phases. And this is one of the things that we will talk about when it comes down to this. Maya says she got the book. So it's so much information. It's so life-changing. And I'm just so proud of the people who got their copy, because it's helping us with our first documentary project that I'm working on. And then I'm going to just stop it, because it comes out. I actually have a tree of life, flower of life book the actual vintage of all of this. I just made sure I got it all copied and photocopied for y'all. And that was something I wanted to do. All right. So it's also say you just order one. Hey, congratulations, man. You will not be disappointed. Everybody who get this, 1 year from now, if you go through all of this and you just keep referring back to it, your life, nothing would be as it was. Ever since I started this a few months back, manifestation has gave me the willpower to, as my weight loss is just going on, my energy level is going on, just even more confidence of everything else. The new moon, just by the Book of Secrets, is the beginnings. This is where you get to start stuff and really going. Then you have the crescent moon, which it says is here. The crescent moon is where you're going to set your intentions. Then you have what they call the first quarter of the moon. This is after you set those intentions, you now go into action phases. So you can divide your whole plan of life based upon moon cycles, which you can learn that in here, or you can get out there on the internet, whatever. Then you got the waxing of the moon. This is the hash symbol to the left side. Okay. This is what we call refine everything. Then you have, once again, a full moon, and now you're going to harvest the endeavors. Then you have the moon going this way, which is the introspect of the moon. And then, of course, you have another half on this side, which is the release and what they call let go. So those are things that, again, it was essential that we wanted to talk about this because I think it's important, not only in the UFO world of what we're doing, but also as we look into other things. All right, appreciated the contributions that we got just now from I can say the name if y'all don't mind. I'll tell you who it was. She said, "Great show." Thank you, Angel. So y'all give a shout out to Angel. She said, "Great show," and there we go, and pretty much. So thank you. Everything is helpful, as we say. And give Michael a shout out. He got his book of secrets. You won't be disappointed, my brother. You will not be disappointed. Having said that, how do we now go into the other side of that? And in setting those attentions and everything else. How do we do that? If you finding value in tonight's show, you can cash out any type of contributions. You don't have to buy the books or nothing, but if you want to, any value there, Philly Cat put it in the chat, so appreciate it. But there it is there, and then I can actually put it somewhere on the top of the banner for right now. So if you find any value in tonight's show, then be more than happy for you to, send a little blessing. It's real easy to do. How many of you are willing to practice this? How many of you are willing to say, okay, because the moon is in certain cycles. Now, I haven't looked outside to know where it is, but how many of you are willing to do this? Because Mun, and here's what I want to show you right here. It's important that you see this, okay? Right here at the top. So we have the three symbols, okay? The three symbols that you're going to have is the moon, the sun, and the earth. You see this in all of the ancient folklores, the Christian stuff they would hold. Even in wars, they would come holding this symbol on a stick. The moon, which is the mind, and then it would be the sun, which is your soul. The earth is the body. So when you think about the soul, the sun is the masculine fire, which is consciousness. Then when you talk about the alchemy is the symbol for the moon, and then of course the moon itself is the feminine, it's the water, it's the subconscious, and once again, it's the symbol that life, it's the symbol of mind, body, and soul. This is where you get that from. But if you want to go into the intricate details of it, now you can understand exactly what we're talking about from here, from there. Before we move into the alien side of things, first of all, if you have not voted. Let me put that. So I got to talk about that right quick. I am up for a award at the Conscience Award. So this is Forbidden Knowledge Conscience Award. Make sure that you go and vote. We have just a few weeks left. Actually, we got a week and so left. So I need all votes. I need everybody to go vote, share votes. If we can do something, if you tell me we need the image or you can crop it, get it, put it on social media. We got to win this trophy. And yeah, I want it, but we want it too. So let's vote, 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 and do that. Now, if you have not got your tickets, get your tickets. Get your tickets because once again, man, we're going on that yacht party that Saturday night. There's going to be a kind of like a conference early Saturday at the hotel, I think. Billy is going to be speaking. They're having a women's panel. It's going to be a freaking powerful event. And then when Sunday comes, there's going to be a book signing. Hopefully my book will be ready and you can get you a copy, or I may have some pre-signings there. But there'll be other people there. And then the Conscious Awards from 3 to 9 that night. Red carpet event. It's just going to be a beautiful thing. What's his name? Georgilo Tsoukalos is going to be the MC. Can't wait to meet this guy. When we do the cruise that night or out there in a yacht with a gourmet buffet, people are going to be dancing. Of course, I ain't pole dancing and I'm not a good dancer, but I can, go back and forth a little bit. So I'll be doing that and we'll have a little fun. But once again, you got to go. Billy Cat just put the chat there, the link to the award. So definitely, I want you all to vote. I really do. I want you all to vote as quickly and as much as you can so that we could win what we're winning. So let's do this. All right. So let's do this thing. Let's make sure that you apply once again. When we got the new moon, I'm going to go over it real quickly. And there are moon faces. And when you get this particular book, it's going to show you all of the moon faces right here where I'm pointing. Then it's going to show you and it's going to explain to you each one of them and what you need to be doing during those cycles. New moons, the waxing crescent, the first quarter, the waxing of Kabos, full moon. But if you want to go back to the phases and meanings, we have new beginning on the full moon. We have the waxing crescent where you want to set those intentions once again. Then when it gets to the half on this side over here, you want to take action on whatever those intentions that you put out. Then you want to refine anything and all that stuff. Then you want to harvest those endeavors. Then you want to introspect about it. You want to think about it. Maybe give gratitude, whatever it is, just introspection, think with internally, and then you release and let go all that bull stuff and move on to something else once it do that. So ladies and gentlemen, is our first part that I wanted to talk to. Now, of course, our DNA is alien stuff. So we're going to get into the conspiracy on the other half of the moon here. But as I close the part out with the book and stuff, so again, make sure you get it. If you don't, that's fine, because pretty soon it won't be available for everybody to do. So that's fine. So again, thank one of you who actually took everything and let's roll. Okay, and I want to thank each and every one of you for that. Make sure once again that you get your. I'm just flipping. Look at that. I'm just flipping. If you think you got all this knowledge in your head, man, no, you don't. No, you don't. But anyway, you better get it. And I guarantee you life will be different for you. All right. Another thing that I've been doing is this. I'm reading this book of cult symbols. This is really good. It has all of the symbols out there when it comes to occults, man. This thing is a very good book. And so I'm just learning symbols because that's some of the stuff that I'm fascinated with when it comes down to that. And we've been pretty much, as we're doing our high strangeness of contents. When we talk about the moon, it's going to be broken down to an alien side that people say aliens on the moon. Then we have the hollow moon theory. We're going to discuss that right quick. And then we have the infamous moon landing, the story of it. And did we ever go? And why we haven't gone back.